Hello, viewers. Welcome back to another engaging episode of Manager's Mantra, where we connect with industry leaders who are shaping the future of business management. Today, we have Amit Goyal, Managing Director, Project Management Institute, South Asia. Amit is instrumental in creating career opportunities and driving impactful projects. Previously, Amit was heading edX for India and APAC, founded by MIT and Harvard University. He has held leadership roles with the likes of Samsung and other prominent companies. He is well known for leading the development of the Akash tablet PC, an initiative by the Government of India. Amit holds a bachelor's degree in computer science, master's in business administration, along with executive leadership credentials from Oxford University. Without waiting further, let's jump right into this insightful discussion.
Hi, Amit. A very good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining in today for this new session of Business Standard BSmart Managers Mantra, wherein we invite experts like you to talk about different topics and discuss those topics, which kind of gives a great learning for the viewers. So, welcome today to this new session.
Thank you so much for having me.
So, Amit, without making you wait, let us start discussing the questions.
Hmm.
Project management has come a long way. It has evolved so much, and project leaders today are often managing technology, people, budgets, resources, regulators, customers, and business expectations, all of them together. Do you think the
Correct.
role has become significantly more demanding over the last decade?
I think the whole way of working for every project professional, and rather every professional, has changed. I'm sure for you as a journalist and a business professional, the way you used to work earlier versus the way you're working now, there has been a significant change. But coming back to project leadership, absolutely, undoubtedly, until a decade ago, project leader were primarily expected to manage scope, timelines, budgets, and resources only. But today they are managing very complex technologies, especially people, customers, regulators, vendors, and a lot of sustainability expectations. And occasionally a WhatsApp group where everyone believes that their issue is the top priority. However, the fundamentals have not disappeared, but the role has expanded dramatically. And different stakeholders, they also define success differently. Finance team would want cost control. The customer wants everything to be done yesterday. Employees wants a smooth transition. And leaders, they want transformation without disrupting business. So the project leader has therefore evolved from being a manager of, let's say, task to an integrator of completing expectation. And in today's business world, it is no longer enough to ask, did we complete the project on time? We must ask, did it create business value? Did the customer adopt it? Did employees embrace the change? Did it solve the problem it was created to solve? Otherwise, it often becomes, like constructing a beautiful flyover that nobody can figure out how to enter. So the modern project leader do not merely manage a plan. They connect strategy, people, and execution.
Thank you so much, Amit. Amit, today technology and AI are transforming every industry. Now, do you think these technologies make project execution easier, or they are adding up to a new layer of complexity that organizations need to manage?
It actually does both. AI can help create schedules. It helps you analyze risk. It helps you summarize the meetings, forecast delays, and automated repetitive reporting. In fact, AI finally solves one of the corporate India's oldest problem, which is to finding out what was actually decided during a 2 hours long meeting. And this gives project leaders more time to focus on judgments, stakeholders alignment, and critical decisions. But at the same time, AI also introduces new complexities. Organizations must consider data quality, privacy, cybersecurity, bias, regulations, and accountability. Uh, AI can generate an answer in seconds, but someone still must determine whether that answer is accurate, ethical, and relevant. I mean, especially in Indian context, think of using Google Maps. It can suggest you the fastest route, but when it asks you to drive into a narrow gully where even an auto rickshaw is reconsidering their life choices, human judgment must take over. And so AI fluency is becoming essential, but human judgment becomes more valuable, not less. So AI can simplify the work, but it does not simplify leadership. The project leaders remains accountable for the destination and not for driving the organization into the wrong gully or the wrong lane.
Thank you, Amit. That was really insightful. Amit, many organizations have ambitious growth plans and transformation agendas, yet execution often becomes the biggest challenge. Now, what
Hmm.
separates organizations that consistently convert strategy into outcomes from those that struggle to deliver?
Um, so what we have seen is successful organizations, they are often more agile. They do not simply treat strategy as another PowerPoint presentation that is usually shown at the annual offsite and then carefully preserved until the next annual offsites. And I've seen this very, very closely. In my experience of last, I would say 12 to 15 years working with large corporates, working with CXOs, decision makers, we have often seen that the innovation gradually stalls down. Strategy, they say it is imperative to make culture. And I think a legend once said that culture eats strategy for breakfast. Uh, Successful organization, they translate strategy into a very clearly prioritized portfolio of projects with measurable outcomes, accountable leaders, and adequate resources. In layman terms, let's say tomorrow, if a company has to launch a new project or a new product, then and they may have a vision that this product should get, let's say, 50% or 30% market share. Let's say if I talk about a tablet or a mobile device, right? Then that vision has to be broken down into multiple projects. And each project, either it's project research or market research, product pricing, pre-sales, post-sales, customers' expectation, and continuous innovation, they all become individual projects within a large project. So the alignment has to be created. And employees understand not only what they're delivering, but why it matters. Every team should understand what is their contribution. And wherever priorities conflict, leaders have to make decisions quickly. Weak organizations, they usually have 20 to 30 number one priorities. Every time they will come up and say, this is our number one priority, right? But if everything is urgent, then nothing can be prioritized. Then it becomes like an Indian wedding where every relative believe that they are in charge. They are like the fufa of the party. And third, successful organizations, they continuously reassess their parameters. They do not continue a project unchanged merely because it was approved a year ago. They review customer needs, they review risk, assumptions, and expected value throughout execution. And they're also willing to stop a project when the business case no longer makes sense. Stopping the wrong project is not failure. Continuing it simply because money has already been spent can create a much bigger failure. And this is where at PMI we describe effective leaders as doing more. So we have carved out this terminology within PMI framework called MORE, wherein M stands for managing perceptions, O stands for owning success beyond just project success. R stands for relentlessly reassessing our parameters. Today, if you have been given a task to, let's say, conduct a podcast. Tomorrow, those needs may change. So, how will you constantly reassess? Uh, an expanding perspective. So, with every podcast or with every piece that you create and the information that you spread out, Abhishek Chatterjee is also learning. He's also expanding his horizon. He's also learning, he's expanding his thought process. And how he contributes everything back to the stakeholders. And I think this is what successful people do, successful organizations does. So I would summarize this as, strategy describes the destinations, but projects are how an organization actually reaches it.
Thank you so much, Amit. Amit, my next question to you is that India is investing heavily in infrastructure, manufacturing, digital transformation, and innovation. Now, do you believe that the country faces a project leadership or execution capability gap that needs to be addressed?
So India has always been, the talent factory to the world. India has exceptional technical talent. It has the right entrepreneurial energy and ambition. But the real question is whether our execution capability is scaling at the same speed as our aspirations. We are simultaneously building highways, metros, as you mentioned, airports, renewable energy, capacity, manufacturing ecosystems, digital platforms. India is also home to global capability centers of the world. In fact, we also partner with more than 200 global capability centers around the world. India itself has about 220 plus, making it one of the biggest industries in India. So certainly, India does not suffer from a shortage of ambition. We're very comfortable announcing a vision of 2030, 2040, or even 2047. But the real test is what happens on Monday morning when someone must translate that vision into budgets, timelines, capabilities, and accountability. So the need is not simply for project managers. India need project leaders who can integrate disciplines, navigate government and private stakeholders together, manage uncertainty, that's very important, flag off risk at a very early age, and connect execution with economic and societal outcomes. We must build these capabilities not just in large companies, but also across governments, universities, MSMEs, startups, and emerging industries. Because a brilliant engineer, a large budget, and powerful technology do not automatically produce a successful outcome. Someone must bring all the moving parts together. Tabhi, as they say, gadi tabhi chalegi, when everything is moving simultaneously as the way they're supposed to function. So capital creates possibility, technology creates capability, but what matters is a disciplined project execution that converts both into an organization or to the nation's progress.
Thank you, Amit. Let us discuss about the skilling aspect. A lot of young professionals will be watching this interaction. Now, for
Yeah.
them, they will be very curious to know that what are some of the most valuable skills that will help them lead projects and, more importantly, navigate increasingly complex work environments.
Very interesting question. Students are something who are extremely close to my heart. I spent over a last decade working with Harvard and MIT, wherein we were providing the right guidance via the new education policy, working directly with hundreds of universities across India and states as well to really shape the right skill set that the students need. What we have seen now, Abhishek, is India is producing millions of unemployable graduate every year. They say 80% of engineering graduates in India are considered unemployable because they lack the right skills that organizations need. Uh, Sometimes students, and getting admission into IITs and IIMs is extremely hard. I've seen students who, start preparing for these colleges, their entrance examination when they are in fifth standard. I've been into the same trains with the parent when they're taking away their son or daughter when they are in fifth standard, taking them to Kota with the hope कि बच्चा IIT में जाएगा, कल को बच्चा IIM में जाएगा. But today, I think with the advent of technology, students no longer have to just depend on getting admission into one of the topmost colleges of the world or of India. They can get admission into any college, get access to the right degree, the right discipline, and at the same time build their own skills. There are plenty of online courses available which can complement their formal education. But coming back to your questions about the specific skills that young professionals should develop from a PM perspective is first and foremost the business acumen. Understand how a company creates value, how they serve their customer, and how they make money. For example, today, if an intern comes to Abhishek Chatterjee and from day one, if he says, "Sir, I have this excellent idea, these are the things that we'll do, which will change this everything together." And Abhishek is going to tell him, "Beta, take it slow. Understand the company first, understand how we are working, understand how we are making money, how we are sustaining, and how we are making value to our stakeholders." So, getting that business acumen is one of the top skill. Second, AI and data literacy is as common as being able to access internet today. They used to be very flashy keywords maybe a couple of years ago, but today they seem like a very basic information, very basic IT skills. They do not need to become programmers, but they must know how to use AI responsibly, interpret data, and question an AI generated recommendation. And third, communication, which is evergreen. They say uh, one does not really have to spend a 50 slide presentation to make up their point. Less is more. It is explaining its message into 2 minutes when the senior leader says, just tell me the main point. Fourth, adaptability. Professionals must continue to learn, unlearn, and adjust. And the skills that made you successful 5 years ago may not be enough 5 years from now. Today, the whole industry is facing this uncertainty that am I going to be relevant to the same industry in 2 or 3 years down the line? Will AI be replacing humans? Will my skills be relevant? And that is where they need to let go of their specific notion, relearn, and apply that to their daily lives. And finally, the most important is to develop an ownership mindset. Sometimes what we see is, especially when students come to a workforce, and Abhishek, you would also be seeing this when a new colleague enters into your company. Uh, they may sometimes say, "Sir, 6 बज गए, मेरा काम खत्म. I'm done. Now I'll rather leave." So leaving on time is good, but then having the right ownership mindset, that is very important. One must not wait for the title of a project manager. They should volunteer to coordinate an initiative, solve a problem, and organize an activity to improve a process. So, having this ownership mindset takes them a long way, not just within the company, but afterwards as well. So, uh, you know, technical knowledge may help you enter the room, but judgment, communication, and ownership, that determines the impact that you create once you're there.
Thank you so much, Amit. I'm sure a lot of viewers watching this will watch this interaction, will take a note of it, and really work on your suggestions and advices. Thank you so much, Amit. We know that a lot of this young leaders, they are being groomed in the management schools. The B schools are doing a great job indeed to make them future ready. But then, besides the class lectures and theoretical knowledge, how else can universities make the students future ready for that corporate grill?
So, today, every college, they have a placement cell. And what surprises me, Abhishek, in India versus rest of the world, uh, when I look at the advertisement of a private college in, let's say, US or Canada or UK, they talk about the skills that the university offers. They talk about the R&D facilities. They talk about the overall curriculum and extracurricular activities, that they offer. Versus, especially when I go in India, and if you go to, let's say, any highway, you will come across those nice, large, big billboards that will show a student picture, that will show the university name, that will show you the placement company name, Microsoft, Kyndryl, etc. And they will write in big words 40 lakhs per annum, 30 lakhs per annum, right? And I think I could never understand it marketing, but strangely that sells in India. And at the same time, when we speak to the decision makers of those universities, we understand that they have taken AICT approval, they have taken UGC approval, but now they are struggling to recruit students. They have to fit in 40 to 60 students in a class. Sometimes, despite spending a lot of money on marketing, they're not even able to fill their classrooms, probably 30%, 40%. And a couple of years ago, a large number of colleges in India were shut down because they were not sustainable. So what universities and students should be doing is to really complement their traditional knowledge. See, Abhishek, for example, we used to watch test matches earlier. Then it changed to one day. Today we are talking about, we are hooked to T20s. Very soon, I think cricket will be on demand. Maybe 5 overs ka match, 10 overs ka match. I think that is going to be the future. Entertainment has changed. We used to go to, buy tickets in Blackboard cinemas and all. And today, I think we have stopped going to cinemas altogether. Everything is right in our hand with Netflix and OTT platforms. But education has not changed for a very long time. We haven't really questioned why a bachelor's degree needs to be 3 to 4 years. Today, if a university has to take approval for a BTech or a BC or a BB or an MBA program, they need to submit the curriculum years in advance to UGC and AICTE. Then they get the approval that this is what their outcome is. This is what they will be teaching their students for the next few years. But technology is changing so fast. So universities, they have to adapt. And more than the university, if I'm a student and I'm going to take admission at a university which might not be very prestigious, that doesn't really define am I a failure or I've made it in life. Unfortunately, today Indian society says कि बच्चा अगर IIT IIM में नहीं गया या टॉप के कॉलेजेस में नहीं गया, then वो एक लेबलिंग हो जाती है, right? But that is not right, because look at the intense competition out there. In fact, today it is easier to get admission into MITs and Harvard and Oxford of the world than to get into IITs and IIMs. So we need to focus on that 85% students who is actually studying at slightly lower than IITs and IIMs and those kind of B schools and engineering schools and colleges in India. While universities are already taking a progressive approach, they take a formal degree and curriculum approval from the right bodies. And at the same time, they start integrating world class certifications into their curriculum. We're also working with various universities within India who have integrated PMI certifications such as PMP, CAPM, CPMAI, and these certifications are integrated as a part of their curriculum. So when a student is graduating, they're completing their university requirements. They're also taking the curriculum for these professional certifications simultaneously. And once they graduate, They don't just have a bachelor's or a master's degree from ABC college or university, but also a world-class gold standard certification issued by PMI from, which started in 1969 and which is honored and recognized around the world by any large and leading corporation of the world. So I think it is really the student. In earlier days, there used to be, challenges of not having the right content. Today, there is too much content. Student has to steer through what they want to do. Accessibility is no longer a challenge. So I think the onus really lies on student to complement their skill set. They say, and I used to say this very often, is a degree can give you a living, but the right skill set can make you a fortune. And that is what students and university should be focusing on to make someone skilled and relevant for the future.
Thank you so much, Amit. Amit, you made a great observation and a great point when you compared the Indian B schools and how they kind of advertise or how they kind of project themselves compared to the global counterparts. They probably, as you very rightly pointed out, that when we see those their billboards, probably they highlight the placements, they highlight the pay package per annum that the students end up getting, rather than the global counterparts who highlight the process what they have to offer. Do you think that there is this mindset that we are very much result oriented and not that much process driven? If that is the situation, then how do you think that mindset can be changed?
Abhishek, I think it is the same Sharma ji ka beta mindset, right? So there is education carries an emotional value to Indian parents. They many a times, and especially you see in India, unfortunately, our government isn't spending a lot on education as if you look at our GDP. But if you look at an average household spend, on an average, 40 to 60% of a household income goes on to educating their child. Uh, when someone makes it in life, why education? If Abhishek is sitting on this podium today, that he has made it in life, he is really, interviewing people. I'm sure a lot of people are coming up to Abhishek for his guidance. Abhishek ke relatives would also be reaching out to him, कि यार Abhishek, you have done something in life. Can you please guide my son or my daughter? अभिषेक भैया से पूछो उनसे काउंसलिंग लो so education has created, and this is the result orientation mindset. When people see that what education has done to Abhishek Chatterjee's life, they really aspire the same thing to be happening to their kids. And in this, I sometimes feel that student becomes very burdened. uh, for example, if I talk about foreign education system, students till class 12th, their education is completely free. We have the same in India as well. But in India, there is a mindset that if you have scored good in class 10th, then you will go for science. If you have scored mediocre, you will go for commerce. If you have scored really low, you will go for arts. But if you look at what those people are doing 10, 15 years down the line, someone who took arts is actually making the most money. Someone who took commerce is then making, money afterwards. And those who have simply taken to traditional BTech degrees are actually struggling because those expectations which were met at that time, just in peer pressure and parents' pressure, they could not really think outside of the box. Today, parents as well as students and faculty and colleges, they really need to think outside of the box. They need to have an agile mindset. क्या हुआ if I don't get into IIT? क्या हुआ if I don't get into an IM? If I'm getting admission to a mediocre college, I will consider myself fortunate. It is their time to do extracurricular activities, utilize the experience that you get, make good friends. I think confidence is the number one skill that you can embed in a child. And then other things, other skills can be acquired. Give them the right platform to go and acquire those skills. And today there is no doubt of it. Uh, while doing any, let's say, degree or a diploma or a polytechnic from anywhere in India, today you can enhance your skill set by taking online courses, many of the cases free of cost, from Oxford, Harvard, Berkeley, Columbia, Yale, and whatnot. So I think it is a student who needs to move away from the traditional mindset, think outside of the box, and make plenty of money. And Abhishek, you and I are talking about spreading all of this gyan per se, right? And saying students should do this, students should do that. But the reality is tomorrow a bacha will come. They will simply prepare a YouTube video of how to unbox a toy. and maybe make crores or more money than both of us will ever make in our lifetime, right? So I think what they have done is to stay ahead of the curve. Today, there are so many opportunities available in India with the penetration of internet and IoT that students must think outside of the box and latch onto this journey early on.
Thank you so much, Amit. Really very rich insights, sharing your experience and all of that. We can go on and on, really loving this conversation, but unfortunately we are limited by time. So moving on to the last question before wrapping up the session, a kind of future glimpse into the future. Are you looking ahead? What do you think the future project leader will look like? What capabilities will define success in a world very complex, shaped by AI, constant transformation, and growing complexity?
Right. So, let me ask you this, Abhishek. Today, when you interview someone, do you ask them, ki, do you have internet knowledge? Do you know how to access email? Do you know how to browse internet, etc.? Do you even ask them these questions?
No, because by default we assume that they will know that.
The exact same thing is going to happen to someone who will use AI. So, basic fluency over AI will be given, it will be required. People will not even ask for it. But the future project leaders will be technologically fluent, business aware, and most importantly, deeply human. See, technology fluency means knowing how to use AI and data to improve productivity, decisions, and risk management. They don't need to build every AI system, just as a CEO does not need to repair the office Wi Fi, but they must understand what technology can and cannot do. Business aware means connecting every project to value. Future leaders will be expected to understand whether an initiative improves growth, customer experience, resilience, productivity, or societal impact, not simply whether milestones were completed. And most importantly, deeply human. It means building trust, managing resilience, resolving conflict, and helping people navigate the change. People are the most important asset to any organization. As machines, they become better at generating schedules, reports, and analysis. Human capabilities become more important. AI can tell you that a stakeholder is delaying the project. It will not tell you that the unstakeholder feels unheard, threatened, or even worried about losing relevance. So the future leader will therefore combine technology with empathy, commercial understanding with ethics, and speed with sound judgment. And hence, the role is moving from project coordination to transformation leadership. So, the successful project leader of the future will not compete with AI. They will combine the intelligence of technology with the judgment, empathy, and I believe the accountability that only people can provide.
Thank you so much, Amit. Great having this conversation with you. I'm sure this will be a great interaction and it will be loved by the viewers. Thanks again for taking out time and agreeing to participate in this interaction. We are very hopeful to stay in touch with you and have you again in any of the future sessions of Be Smart Business Standard.
Thank you, Abhishek. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. Love to be on this table with you. Take care. Have a good rest of the day. Bye for
Thanks.
now.
So that's a wrap on this episode of Manager's Mantra. Thank you, Amit, for sharing your thoughts and providing career tips to the students. Be Smart viewers, we hope you found this conversation helpful. Share your thoughts with us at bsmart.edit@bsml.in. Follow us on LinkedIn and Instagram for more such insightful and inspiring content. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing.